us right now, Senate Minority Leader, head of the Republicans in Connecticut State Senate. That is Senator Kevin Kelly. Senator, good morning. How are you?
Morning, Lee. Doing well.
Well, we're doing. It's cold. I can tell you that.
It is cold.
I don't know what happened, but all of a sudden it got really, really cold. So I saw this.
December.
Yeah. Well, and I guess. Well, I mean, everyone who says to me, "Well, it's not winter yet." Well, it feels like winter. I can tell you that.
Yeah.
It feels like winter. So I saw this great piece on you in the Connecticut Post with the headline: "The state Republican leader who wanted to be a catcher." Let's talk baseball. You wanted to be a catcher?
Absolutely. Wanted to follow in my father's footsteps, but the problem was I didn't have quite as good of eyes as he did, and he, once I got into high school baseball and people could throw junk, I was stepping in the bucket. And he would be like, "Kevin, just watch the laces on the ball. If they're spinning this fast, it's a curve. If they're spinning this fast, it's a slider." And I was like, "That I can just about see the ball, let alone the laces and how fast they're spinning." But he could see that, and he saw that, and that's why he could put a round bat on a round ball and play the game a lot further than I ever could.
Now, he played at a high level. He played with the Cardinal organization, right?
He played with the Cardinal organization, went to college to play baseball. And then, after he got out, he got into the Cardinal organization and played some ball there. Yeah,
that's pretty great. That's kind of neat. Was he a dad who was, I don't know, I want to say this as tactfully as I can, but sometimes they get like a dad who has that kind of success at sports gets frustrated early and doesn't have a lot of patience. Did your dad have patience, or was he like, hit it like me, hit it like me?
Well, no, he had, on the ball field, he had unbelievable patience. He ended up coaching Little League far beyond when any of myself and my brothers played. He coached for like 20 years.
Oh, that's great. That's great.
And was just devoted to the game of baseball. And if the game of baseball was on or you were at the ballpark, the world was great. As long as the Yankees weren't winning. That was the one thing. He was a New York Giant baseball fan and did not like the Yankees. But other than that, if anybody else won, it was a great baseball year. And, he worked through your mechanics, keep your elbow up, keep your eye on the ball, which was always rule one. But it was all about the mechanics, the techniques of baseball, teaching the game, and I'm going to say spreading the love of the game.
Right. Well, that's great. That's good to grow up in that kind of household. When did you decide you wanted to be a politician?
Well, that was something that was more along the lines, I grew up in an Irish Catholic household, and as long as I can remember, there were two things we talked about at the kitchen table, which are those things you're not supposed to, which was politics and religion. You're talking about what's going on at church. Is there a fundraiser? Is there something happening at this parish or that parish? This person, is a new priest. And politics, you talked about what was going on all day, every day. And so it was always there. And, when it came time to but to go to college, I was like, what do I do? My dad was like, well, study something you really love, because whatever you become, you're going to do that the rest of your life. And as long as you love what you're doing, it's not going to be as much work as if you don't like what you're doing.
Right.
And so I followed that advice, studied politics, gravitated toward, public service, got into working in the state welfare department in Bridgeport. There would be a lot of different things in that department. The best experience was home visits, getting to actually see how people who have not benefited from the American dream live their lives. And they're not that far away. They're just a couple of miles down the road. And, that public service led one thing to another, led to me getting a law degree, elder law attorney, and ultimately to the state Senate.
So moving from that to where we are now, so now you get the state Senate spot. Now you're the head of the state Senate. Is there something that maybe a direction you want to take your partners, the other 12 of you or 11 of you that are, in the state Senate? Is there a direction that you might want to go that Len didn't go? Or is there an idea that you have that Len didn't maybe cultivate? Is there something or just a new direction you want to take the Republican Party?
Well, I wouldn't say a new direction, because a new direction indicates that we're departing and that somehow what we stand for didn't work. I think standing up for and giving voice to a middle class who is financially struggling and trying to bring that voice so that it's heard at the table in Hartford, and to make sure that the government is representative of and working for the people of Connecticut, because what we have is a single party rule that doesn't work for the middle class. And so I'm not going to say that we want to depart from that. But what I think we want to do, and we must do, is look at the numbers. I think, while we went from 14 to 12, we did do very well in a number of seats. We lost, Gennaro Bizzarro, a great senator from New Britain, George Logan, a great senator from Hamden. Those were tough seats, and we had won in tough districts. But we lost in a presidential year where the numbers were against us. But the fact remains, what we need to do is to become more competitive and to get our message out to more people and work to expand, I'm going to say, our base and make our message resonate with middle-class Connecticut. I think that is job one, is to make sure that we can take this message and demonstrate that all these promises that the Democrats make, whether it's, health care, whether it's paid family leave, you look at it, it's fool's gold. They make these grandiose promises, but here we are 8 years after the Affordable Care Act, and we still don't have affordable care. And they'll tell you, like, the recreational marijuana is not about the money, but it's all about the money when politicians say that. And the problem is that the majority Democrats' solution to every single one of their problems is putting a bullseye on the middle class wallet and trying to get their hands into our family budgets and taking more away from an already financially struggling family.
Let me ask you this question having to do with the Republican leadership. Now, so you're in a very distinct, interesting position right now because, Len and Themis are gone and two new people, yourself being one of them, and you're going to have a new Republican chairman this year. This might be this perfect opportunity because, and I'm not saying this is not a criticism, but, Senator Fasano and Themis are very strong-willed folks, as is J.R. Romano. And maybe part of the reason, or maybe one of the negative things that come of that, is that it's hard for those kinds of entities to get together and come to some kind of an agreement. Maybe it's a perfect opportunity for the three of you, whoever the new chair is, to sit down and actually formulate what you had just talked about, an actual direction and goals and, well, all of it. And you can do it as a, almost as a one entity. You guys have your own jobs to do, but at least you give the GOP chair some ammunition to move forward with.
Well, exactly, Lee. And I'm going to say one of the things that occurred here is the numbers went from 14 to 12. They declined in the House too. And when you start coming down to smaller numbers, you look around and say, okay, it was a humbling experience. How do we change this? How do we get the middle class relief? And in my view, it's getting to 19 in the Senate. It's 76 in the House, and we can't do it alone. And there's no shame in asking for help and cooperation. And I have been, in communication with Representative Candelora in the House. A number of individuals have talked to me about party chairman. And so I think this is a real opportunity to bring these forces together and actually move the pail, move the bar, so that we can, bring that middle class voice in a much more real, tangible, and hopefully numerical way to Hartford. I think this is an exciting time for the Republican Party in Connecticut.
Let's squeeze I'm sure you got to go. Let's squeeze a couple questions about taxes and maybe tolls and gas taxes. So there are some rumblings that they don't want to go down the toll road again. Maybe at least Governor Lamont seems to hint that he doesn't want to do that. How about raising the gas tax, and where are we at that? And I don't want to say you're defenseless in there. You can only fight. You only have the numbers, like you had just said. They have the numbers. They can do essentially whatever they want. But where do you think they're going to try to grab some revenue from?
Well, they're going to grab revenue wherever they can find it. And that's, I think, a critical distinction between the two parties. And, our Faster Connecticut's a perfect example. They come to every equation, transportation, tolls. They want to reach into our pocket and ask us to give more because they have not been fiscally responsible themselves. Keep in mind that the governor in his last budget went right to the Special Transportation Fund and swept, or quote unquote, diverted $1 billion. Okay, that's a lot of money. And then you're going to come to the taxpayers and say, trust me, give me more out of your wallet, as if it's going to go to the purpose it was pledged to, because that's what the Special Transportation Fund is supposed to do. Now, our Faster Connecticut program took money in the rainy day fund and took that money out of our bank account and put it on one of our loans, the loans that the state took to pay its pension obligations. It'd be like taking money out of a 2%, 1% bank account and paying down on a 25 to 30% credit card. This is what families do. And the remarkable thing is this is not what the majority Democrats do. And the difference in the interest rates by taking money out of your savings, put it on your credit card, that extra cash that you freed up, that's what we would invest into transportation. The money that we save from managing the people's money in a better way. And I think that that's the real difference between the two parties, is that we want a better, a 21st century transportation system. We want a better Connecticut that works for our families. But the difference is we don't look to the middle class family as the solution to every one of the financial problems in Hartford, where the Democrats, that's what they've always been doing. And that's why Connecticut families struggle. It's why we're last in the nation in personal income growth, last in the nation in job growth. And this is why Connecticut families are stuck in the jobs they are, stuck with the income that they have. And it's why it's not affordability is the big issue, because they feel it. And it doesn't resonate with Democrats.
Senator Kelly joining us, the new Senate Minority Leader. I'm all screwed up today for some reason. But listen, you guys got a lot of work to do coming up. I can't imagine what it's going to be like to try to blast through whatever budget they're going to try to propose. I mean, what, $900 million the first go around, almost $4 billion the second go around as far as the deficit. I think I may have even asked you this last time. I know it's a general question in a sense, but I don't remember ever getting to these kinds of numbers. I can't, in particular with a COVID scenario out there and very little revenue to grab. How are you guys going to make this work?
Well, you got to sit down, and my position was you got to sit down earlier rather than later, because right now we have 7 months left in a budget. When I first said this, it was November. You had an extra month, but the longer you wait, the less options you have, because if we wait till April, like the governor wants to do, then you only have 3 months to close a $900 million hole, and that means the cut needs to be deeper if that's where you go. We have seen these numbers before. This was the whole 10 years ago with Governor Malloy and the shared sacrifice. Well, the middle class got 2 historic tax increases, which we continue to pay to this day because they didn't repeal those tax increases.
Right.
But yet government was going to also come to the table with, more savings, and we didn't see that. And that's really what the problem is once again, you're going to go back to these same folks and say, hey, it's time to chip in. It's time to make your contribution, and we're going to share this sacrifice. But at the end of the day, under government, under the Democrat view, government exists for itself many times. And that's the number one priority, is making sure that the largesse of our government remain.
Everybody talks, though, about cuts. It's cut. Is there enough to cut that kind of money? Is there enough?
I'm not sure there's enough to cut there, Lee, but you got to be creative. I think Faster Connecticut is a way to be creative, rather than just take a rainy day fund and plug a budget hole, which means that next year you still have that hole in the budget because you didn't adjust revenue, and you didn't do anything differently. By taking that money and paying down debt to free up revenue is a way to utilize your savings to make an investment in your economy and get people working again. That's one way to keep this thing going, is to grow your way out of it. The other is to look at efficiencies. I mean, we have a two-tiered human service system. And, we did a report by the legislature. I'm going to say it was probably now 10 years ago, but one is the delivered human services through the state of Connecticut, as another is delivered through private nonprofits who care about these people as much, if not more so, than the state. And they can do it better and more efficient. So if we're looking to do more with less, that's a road through this. And we've done it with the Connecticut Home Care Program. We can expand that and, once again, do more with less. So it's not about just cutting services. It's about being smart with the taxpayers' sacrifice that they make and give to the state of Connecticut, and then deploy those dollars in a more efficient manner to bring the services to people in need, while also being able to live within the budget that the people can afford.
Senator Kelly, I can't thank you enough. The new Senate Minority Leader, and again, taking the realm from Senator Fasano. Not a catcher. Neither one of them, I think, are catchers, but we thank him for his time today. I'll talk to you soon. I appreciate the updates, and hopefully we can do this more often as we move forward.
Hey, you bet. Take care.
All right, pal. Have a good one. 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 All right.